Before I start, I just want to say that I am making this video from the perspective of a solo player. I know this event is easier to do with more people and is intended to be played with friends or randoms. However, most of my friends quit Destiny over time, so I usually play solo. I just wanted to clarify that. This is GameCulture, as always I'm your host Ocean, and let's talk about Solstice of Heroes. So Destiny 2 recently got an event named Solstice of Heroes. This event is a celebration of the first year of Destiny 2. Destiny usually gets these events every year, round about this time, and this one was actually pretty okay. My original opinion after completing the event as my first character was that I overall liked the event and thought it was pretty good. But as time went on and I played my second and third characters, I completely changed my mind. But more on that soon. Now, in Solstice of Heroes, you got a bunch of cool collectible items such as a ghost and a sparrow if you completed certain goals during your time in year 1, depending on what goals you completed during that time. It's kind of like a bucket list or a tick list of everything that you could do in the first year of Destiny 2. But also you get this cool new armor set that requires a bunch of grinding in order to upgrade and obtain it. Now this is the main course of what I want to talk about. You start off with this green broken armor and you have to complete a bunch of goals to upgrade it to its next level. One thing that really irritated me though is that in order to get the armor you first need to complete Homecoming, which was one of Destiny 2's original campaign missions. Now the mission itself was not the problem, it was kind of nice and kind of fun to go back and relive this content again, but with slight tweaks and different enemies. The problem however comes in the fact that once you have completed this mission, you get taken back to the tower, you get this green armor set in which you can start to upgrade, and then you find out that you have to replay that same mission again in order to complete one of the goals. Which is utterly pointless. If you're going to make people play these missions, why can't we have Ikora give you the armor and then you jump into the mission instead? So then once you've completed that mission, you don't have to do it for a second time. Worst thing is that once you've completed all the stuff on your first character, you still have your second and third characters to grind through, which means that's 2 more times for each character that you have to complete that one mission. Then this whole thing just escalates even further once you complete the green set. After completing the green set of armor, you would receive a blue upgraded set with a slightly different visual to it, and are once again set on a path to completing a bunch of different goals. Fair enough, let's grind! But then I found out you have to complete those same missions that you had to do for the green set again, but much harder. Why? Why? Honestly, these missions just became an absolute drag to complete solo. I did eventually use an LFG app to find some people for my second character, which made the experience much easier and much more entertaining to play. But, as I said, I'm mostly speaking from a soloist perspective, and from a soloist perspective, these missions were horrible to play. And it's not even that I'm bad at Destiny, I'm not that bad. I'd say I'm not amazing, but I'm pretty good at Destiny. I've completed all the raids in Destiny 1, done all the hard modes, all the challenges and stuff. I'm an okay player, so I should have been able to complete these missions easily. But they were all set up in a way that was meant to be for multiple players, therefore playing from a solo perspective was absolutely painstakingly horrible. Now the goals themselves aren't too bad to grind out, some were actually kind of fun. You basically just have to complete a bunch of contents that, if you play Destiny 2 enough, you will be completing any week anyway. So it's nothing special, but at the same time it's nothing that's bad. However, I wasn't a fan of the Crucible parts of this event, due to the fact that I'm just not a fan of PvP in Destiny. I actually made a video about this, about my thoughts on the Crucible, that's a little bit more of a rant than a video I guess, but if you're interested in that, check the description and the end card. But back to Solstice. I really liked how the tower was decorated for this celebration. I feel Bungie have done a good job decorating the game for events in Destiny 2, such as the Dawning event with all its snowy wonder, and Faction Rally events. And there was a new social space added in this event. However, it was bad, it wasn't good at all. The new social space that is only accessible once per character for some strange reason is empty as hell. The only NPC character in this space is Ikora. That is it. There's nothing, there's a few places to run around, but that is it. There's nothing really to look at or to do. I felt like after I'd had a look around for my first time, I had no reason to come back, and I didn't need to look around anymore, and that's probably why you don't get to go back. It would have been at least nice to go back there and see some other players and celebrate after obtaining the maxed out armor. Also, Bungie, one thing I don't understand with this event is if this is meant to be some sort of celebration, why is nobody celebrating apart from the Guardians? Why can't we see, I don't know, Tess Everest with a party hat? That would be kind of funny. Why can't we see people dancing in the streets or something, just like NPC random characters, like drinking and celebrating and having fun. Make the tower and make this new zone much more interesting than just a blank canvas area with nothing to look at and nothing to find or do, with no way to return. The whole social space was just pointless. But to go back to the whole LFG and solo thing, I have to say, for solo players who do not ever want to play with randoms or have to play with other people, this event was horrible. There was crucible steps, nightfall, and obnoxious story missions that meant you had to either team up or become the legend himself to beat them solo. Also, what the heck is it with Bungie always adding the most boring goddamn thing they can possibly make us do in every DLC or event? I unfortunately remember the tedious grind for materials back in Destiny 1 that had me farming chests for hours just to get spin metal. Just to get spin metal. That's just one of many examples just for Destiny 1, never mind Destiny 2, but having to play 5 of these green missions, which totals 15 missions just for the green set, and then having to do these missions again for the blue set, but even harder, was honestly just obnoxious. Now don't get me wrong, I enjoy a good grind in Destiny. Heck, I still remember the 70 or so runs it took me to get Necrochasm in Crota's End back in the day. But sometimes the grinds that Bungie creates is just horribly boring. I feel like they always struggle to find this balance between playing the game 24 hours a day or playing the game casually for like an hour a day. It just seems like they can't seem to find a middle ground. There's either not enough grind or too much of it. And this event to me felt like there was a little bit too much of it. And while I'm ranting, can we goddamn stop with Eververse and timed RNG loot? Like, seriously? I've been playing the event since the first day, and all I have gotten so far from their new Solstice engrams is low-tier remotes, ghosts, and sparrows. None of the exotics or weapon ornaments. It's ridiculous. Just stop with the constant timed loot in Destiny altogether. I feel like I'm being held hostage to the game if I want that cool shiny new helmet, or this cool weapon, or this ghost. I would much rather be enjoying my time and playing Destiny when I want to and when I feel like playing it, rather than feeling like I have to play it 24 hours a day and have to put off everything else in my life, otherwise I'm going to miss out on a ton of stuff. And yes, I know a lot of Eververse and all that stuff is just cosmetic items, but I'm a completionist when it comes to Destiny. I like to collect all the items, I like to collect all the armor sets and all the stuff. That's where my fun for Destiny comes in. So having this kind of content in the game where I feel like I have to get this stuff within a certain time limit is honestly just frustrating as hell, and it's really been putting me off Destiny 2 lately. Anyways, that's my little rant over. Overall, I will say I did kind of enjoy Solstice. The stuff outside of the missions wasn't too bad. It was just plain strikes, plain adventures. The adventures was actually okay, I didn't mind that, because I got to go back and finally get round to completing those adventures that I never got round to completing in the first place. So that wasn't too bad. And it did give me something to do for a couple of days, so can't fault them on that one. And I guess if this event is meant to be a celebration and meant to be an event where we look back on Destiny 2 Year 1, then it kind of makes sense for it to be very frustrating, because after all, since launch, Destiny 2 has been incredibly frustrating to deal with for a lot of players, myself included. Now, I understand there's probably going to be a lot of people who completely disagree with me on a lot of what I just said. Some may agree, but hey, if you enjoyed the event, or the Destiny 2 overall so far, that's awesome. I'm glad you had a good time. I'm just a dude with his own opinions sharing his thoughts. This has been GameCulture. As always, I've been your host Ocean. Thank you for watching, and keep gaming.